Hi, Jeff.
Hey, Soraya, how you doing today?
Oh my gosh, Jeff. Can you believe it? Hold my hand. It's our 80th episode.
Oh my
Woo!
gosh, we're officially in old age.
Don't know about that. But I cannot believe it's been 80 episodes.
I
It doesn't feel
know.
like it.
It does not feel like it at all. It feels like we just started this, and
I know.
we're just getting into it. I feel like.
But Jeff, number 80 is a special number.
It is. It is.
And today's a really special day
Yes, we have
to
a.
mark this beautiful 80th episode. Jeff, please tell our listeners who is going to help us commemorate our 80th episode.
So today we're talking to the Bangles drummer Debbi Peterson. I know. I know. I am
Okay,
super
is
excited.
did everybody faint?
I
We
did.
cannot believe it. I mean, we can, but it's awesome.
Yeah, very awesome.
And after many attempts, we finally hit one of our unicorns
Yes.
on the for this episode, and so I'm excited. Jeff, are you excited?
I'm very excited. I've seen some interviews with that have included Debbie, and she always has great answers, great energy, and we know how fun she is to watch behind the drum kit or with a guitar strapped around her neck and up front, which she does sometimes at shows.
Right.
So yeah, this should be fun.
I say let's hop to it then.
All
What do
right,
you think?
all right. Let's take this call.
Hi, this is Soraya.
And this is Jeff.
Our podcast is called Paisley Stage Raspberry and Rhyme.
A podcast where the two of us play music that we like and share anecdotes and background about the tunes.
We hope you'll join our conversation. And without further ado, a groovear.
Let's get groovy.
Hi, this is Debbi Peterson. How are you?
Hi, Debbie. How are you? We're doing great.
Good. Good.
Thank you so much for calling in.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thanks for having me.
We have so many questions, Debbie, but we also don't want to tax too much of your time. So if you don't mind, we're just going to hop right in.
Go for it.
Ah, I love it. Debbie, first of all, our podcast focuses on the Paisley Underground, and we've had the other four seminal bands. We've had Annette from the Bangles. We've had members of the 3 O'clock, Dream Syndicate, and Rain Parade, and we've all asked them the same question. We're going to ask you:
Okay.
what does the Paisley Underground mean to you?
The Paisley Underground to me was just, it was almost like a club. It was all of us together going to see each other's shows, supporting each other's music. We all had very similar influences when we started out, and so it was kind of like a club. It was like a gang. We hung out together and really enjoyed just being a part of a scene, man.
Right, yeah. Debbie, we wanted to ask how the Bangs actually came together and get their start on the Los Angeles music scene even prior to this Paisley Underground scene coming together.
Well, actually, Vicky and I were sort of. I joined Vicky's band. Let's go way back. Vicky had a sort of bunch of high school friends. They were playing together and playing, just like silly high school shows and stuff. And they were looking for a drummer, and I auditioned, and said yeah. They said yeah, sure, you're in the band. And so from there, we just kind of did these sort of local clubs in like the Redondo Beach area, sort of. I had to pretend I was 18 even though I was 16,
Oh.
but I was tall. And so we kind of just did these shows for like 3 people in the audience just to kind of get out and play. And we actually had Amanda Hills Padani, who was our bass player at the time, was Vicky's best friend from high school. She was playing with us. We were a 3-piece for a while. And then Amanda went off to get married and do like normal things, like, become a professor and things like that,
Wow.
like actually have a proper job.
Yeah.
And so it was just Vicky and I, and we read in the Recycler, which was like the classified sort of magazine that was around at the time, which I'm reading this book now, and that's apparently a lot of LA musicians got together through the recycler.
Right,
as
right.
well.
Yeah.
And so we were just like sort of looking in the recycler, thinking, let's try to get some other people in our band. And Susanna had an ad in the recycler, and Vicky and Susanna talked, and it was right after John Lennon died, and so it was basically like, oh, let's do something. We have the same interests, and we got together with Sue in her parents' garage, in garage in where is Brentwood. So it was a very nice garage, let's say. And so we got together and sort of jammed with her and realized we had a lot in common, and so that kind of started off. We were writing together and rehearsing a lot together, and then that we made a single, Getting Out of Hand, which it was one of your do-it-yourself kind of things.
Friend told me yesterday you've been looking for me, but I've been staying out of your way. I've done it intentionally. Saw you walking with her.
And put it out on Down Kitty Records, which was our label at the time that we came up with, and managed to get Rodney Bingheimer on the Rock to play it, and which was what I think one of the most exciting things I can remember, hearing the song on the radio for the first time. It's pretty awesome.
Wow.
And so anyway, it was the three of us, and then we got Annette involved. So as I think Annette, again, it was the recycler came into action for that. So we got four of us, and we just started playing around the local clubs.
Sounds simple enough.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's very grassroots, very much, just sort of do it yourself kind of way to get it going, because we obviously, you have to start from somewhere and then play a lot of shows and hope, some record company people come, because that's what we wanted. We wanted to be huge, we wanted to get on a major label and sell lots of records and be famous, and like everybody did at the time,
So I imagine when Rodney played your song on the radio that you probably had that thing you do kind of moment where it's our song is on the radio.
Definitely. I think I was jumping up and down in my living room in our little horrible flat in Hollywood, screaming my head off.
Wow.
It was very exciting.
I love it. So the Bangles. I let's stick with the Bangs for right now, and the Bangles. Yep. But so we're really curious because we've heard a lot of rumors about what really kind of helped a lot of these bands that were in this scene kind of gel and create a community. So we've heard rumors of barbecues being thrown by members of Green on Red. And we've heard about a trip to Catalina that involved a number of these bands, Dream Syndicate, the Bangles, 3 O'Clock. And we just wanted to ask a little more. Do you remember any of these events, either the Catalina trip or these barbecues with members that were being thrown by members of Green on Red?
I definitely remember the Catalina trip big time.
All right.
That was a blast. I mean, we went. I remember, obviously bits and pieces. It was like a million years ago, but I remember going there with the other band members, and we were all friends and hanging out. And I remember sitting like at the beach, and we were cracking beers, and the cop came over and told us you can't drink on the beach and blah blah blah. So we were like, ooh, we're being renegade here, we're being rebels, Ooh, aren't we nasty, And then I remember specifically we all had we were camping out, so we all had brought sleeping bags and stuff with us, and we were sleeping on the golf course, and because we were running around at night trying to find a place to camp out, and we went on this golf course and got woken up in really early in the morning by the sprinklers.
Oh,
That's
gosh.
what I remember. Whether that was really true or I hallucinated that, I don't know, but I do remember that, and then being kicked off the golf course.
Wow.
Oh, man.
So did they use the sprinklers as a way to get you off, or did they?
I'm thinking yes. It was like, okay,
Wow.
let's blast them with water, cold, freezing water at whatever, 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning.
You should have said, "Don't you know that we're going to be the Bangles someday?"
Yeah. Don't you know who we think we are? Come on.
Exactly.
Yeah, that was great. That's fun times.
So with that camaraderie, we wanted to jump a few decades actually and talk about an event that happened in December of 2013 at the Fonda Theater, an event that Soraya and I were front row at. And
Yay.
yeah, that was so much fun for us, and it included the 4 central bands of the Paisley Underground, including the Bangs, as Vicky introduced you guys.
Thank you so much for being here tonight, sharing this very special situation with us. These 4 bands, as you know, throughout the evening and possibly throughout history, have been friends and roommates and housemates and sleeping bag mates, as we discussed earlier, for years and years.
There's a book. There's definitely a book waiting to be written.
And we've just been having the most amazing, beautiful time seeing these guys again and hearing this music again, and I hope you've been enjoying it too. And just for tonight, we're the Bangs.
How was it for you to have that event with these other artists that you had this relationship and connection with from the beginning?
Well, it was great. It was like traveling back in time. It was like I was sitting there watching the other bands and going, oh my God, I remember that song. I used to love that song. You know, it really was a really fun trip, and back in time, and it real thrilled to see them all playing again, and all of us together. I'm so glad that actually came about. It was really, really good experience.
So what was how did this idea come about? As a fan, we were beyond thrilled, but I'm really curious, how did this event come to be?
I think it's just we were all sort of in one way or another reconnecting after years and years and years, and we've all sort of stayed in touch with, like with Steve Wynn and Michael Corcio and everybody, just sort of, by email and stuff, and occasionally calling, and just through the years, just kind of kept in touch with everybody. And suddenly it was just, I can't even remember who came up with this idea. It might have been Danny Benair or somebody started the ball rolling with like this huge email chain, which involved many people, so it got kind of chaotic, but we ended up working it out so that everybody was able to be available for the shows, and it was I'm so glad it happened. It was just a wonderful thing.
I imagine logistically that was really difficult, but as fans, again, this was a highlight of, I've probably seen a couple hundred, maybe 1,000 shows in my life, and that is in my top dozen for sure.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Cool. And what made it extra exciting is at the end, when you had each played your own sets, you got together and you guys were doing cover versions of songs together, including you guys doing the Seeds song, which you sang on. That was so much fun, and just seeing that camaraderie, and it looked like genuine excitement and friendship between all of you.
It was. I mean, it's totally genuine. It's everybody, getting together again after all these years, and being able to play together and have that opportunity. It's pretty amazing, really, after so long. And so I think everybody was really, really thrilled.
And to just add on to this, so that night was amazing, and Jeff, I agree with you. It's in my top 5 shows I've ever seen in my lifetime.
Yay!
But the energy, the fondness, the friendship, but it was walking away going, why am I not seeing these bands anymore? Why am I not hearing them anymore? And then you guys give us really a true gift, and you give us 3x4.
Yeah.
and where each band covers a couple of songs from each other.
Yeah.
I gotta ask again, whose idea was this? Because it was brilliant.
It's again, I think it was a collective idea. I think it spawned from doing those shows together, and I think it was just like the next step in what are we going to do next? Oh, I can't even remember specifically because I don't have all my millions of emails in front of me where it actually came from, but it was definitely a collective of a few minds that said, hey, what about recording each other's songs? And it was like great. And again, the email chain went on and on, like for at least over a year. Just discussing it and what songs should we do and what's the album cover going to look like and what should we call it, and it was a really fun creative project to do, you know.
Yeah, and the final result is amazing. And a little sub question about 3x4, which is really exciting to me. Soraya and I were fortunate enough to go and visit Jim Hill in his studio in Los Angeles. And while we were in there recording an episode of the podcast, he turned to the side and he pointed to the studio and he said, the Bangles recorded backing vocals in that little room right there. And we were so excited. And he pulled out a Polaroid or a picture of you guys in the studio, and we were really excited. But it was really neat for me to see that you guys did the backing vocals on a Rain Parade version of a 3 O'Clock and a Dream Syndicate song.
To do, lose myself in a minute or two. Seems like the end of the world when you smile. Seems like the end of the world when you smile.
Even within that session, all 4 bands were covered. How did you like being in that studio recording the backing vocals on those Rain Parade songs?
It was fun because it was just nice to hang out with Matt again and hear the way they were doing their version and coming up with some different, you know, backing parts, which obviously were different than the original. So it was just kind of, it was, you know, again, it was just like sort of experimental, and we were just sort of throwing a bunch of different ideas around. But it was fun. It's always fun to do backing. I love doing backing vocals anyway because it's always a challenge. Ooh, how can we make this different? You know.
Right.
So it was a good experience. It was fun.
Very cool. And when it comes to harmonies and melodies and voices, I mean, the Bangles cannot be beat. so.
Yeah, we're harmony pigs. We've always loved it.
I've heard that name before.
What, harmony pigs?
Yes.
Well, actually, that was a name that when I did the Kindred Spirit, which was in the early '90s, I worked with Siobhan Marr, and I worked with Christian Nesmith, and we dubbed ourselves the Harmony Pigs when we were recording our little CD a long time ago.
Right.
Many years ago.
So if I understand correctly, that project started off with you and Gina Schock, is that right?
Originally, yes, that was an original. Like, what am I going to do now? The Bangles broke up. I'm like, okay, what am I going to do creatively now, musically? What in the world am I going to do? And so I think that was actually a Miles Copeland suggestion. What about you and Gina Schock getting together? And they were like, I was like, okay, 2 drummers, but yeah, that could be interesting. And so we kind of wrote some songs together and wrote a few good songs, but it was just something that just kind of just didn't gel. I think probably personality-wise it wasn't gelling, and it was an experience. I don't know if it's a good experience, but it's definitely an experience for me to work with somebody else. And then I hooked up with Siobhan, and that was a much better experience for me because we had a lot more musically in common, and vocally we just blended like crazy. It was almost like having my sister back, you know.
Right.
So.
I deceive you with this fragile disguise. Ask me no questions and I will tell you no lies. If she could break my heart, it would break her mind.
Which is I love doing that. I love to blend with other people, and I'm pretty lucky that I can do that. But Vicki and I definitely being, having the sibling vocal blend was nothing like that with any, like any other sibling group,
What do they call that? Blood harmonies or something like that? I've heard recently.
Blood harmonies.
Yeah. So
we were bleeding when we did those harmonies, I'll tell you.
Debbie, I wanted to ask you about the release that came out, the 2013-2014 era, the Ladies and Gentlemen, the Bangles, that was a re-release of some of your earlier material as the Bangles and the early Bangles stuff, and that came out on Omnivore. What were your thoughts about that compilation coming out?
Well, I think we were all really into it because we wanted to get the EP out again because we had it, it came out like in 82, I want to say. Oh, God, if memory serves. And it was on Faulty Products, which was, again, an IRS offshoot that kind of just fizzled and died. And so we really liked those songs because that was, part of the early Bangs/Bangles, and it was history. And so it was one of those things where we'd released Sweetheart of the Sun, and then years later we were just thinking, we weren't really working together a lot, but we wanted to put something else out there so that people could hear and rediscover the very early Bangs/Bangles. And so we got a compilation with the EP and some couple of live things and old singles and stuff that we had done that previously that people probably haven't heard. So we thought, so this could be really fun and really good for the fans and people that want to, rediscover the very early days.
We love it. It's a great release.
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah.
Jeff and I, first of all, we love seeing you. We've seen you obviously at concerts, but we've also seen you at shows like at Wild Honey fundraisers, and we love hearing your voice. We love hearing you sing, but you're such an accomplished musician. I have to ask this question, or I really want to ask this question.
Okay.
As a female drummer in the early 80s on the LA music scene, what was that like for you? Because at the time, punk was coming in, then going out, and other styles are coming in, and we're starting to see more and more women. But I was just curious what that scene was like for you. Accepted, not accepted, or?
Well, it was kind of funny because it's coming out of the 70s, and I remember when we were playing those sort of clubs, with like 3 people in the audience, and a couple of people would say, "Oh yeah, you're not bad for a girl," and you'd get that kind of attitude, and it was like, I'm not doing it just because I'm a girl, I'm just doing it because I want to do it, and and I always felt like, people were kind of, push me away, like, no, you're no good because you're a girl. They took it on the feminine thing, and that's, it was like, no, I just thought, I don't care about that. I don't care about the sex labeling. I just wanted to go and play and do the best I can. And yeah, we were an all-girl band, and that, and there was at that time especially, like some kind of if you want to call it novelty, which I hate to use that word, but it was something that was different. It wasn't like a typical band, because there were a lot of male bands then, and so it was something that was slightly different to, sort of put us apart from the rest of the gang, and but I mean, it was tough. It was tough being a female drummer at that time, but I just, forged ahead and decided I'm not going to let it get me down or affect me in any way. I'm just going to do it.
Badass on the drums. Yes.
For sure. Yeah, baby.
Okay, Debbie, I had a question, and I'm a little leery about asking it, but I wanted to ask about the bass players that you've played with, especially in the Bangles. Yeah. And personally, I love all of them, but so you played with Annette and Mickey Steele and Derek Anderson for a while, who we're big fans of. That A World of My Own album is amazing.
Isn't that a great record? I love that record.
It's so good. But I don't want to know who your favorite is, because that would be weird. But were there any of the bass players that you played with that you felt like a special connection to, or you guys clicked sooner, or?
I don't know. That's a really hard question. Well, I definitely clicked with Derek because we had very similar bass loves. Actually, the same with Mickey too. Annette, yes, but Annette was. It's interesting with Annette because it was so early days for all of us, but she was. In fact, let me tell you, this book I've been reading has been More Fun in the New World.
Yes.
By John Doe. Okay, I've been rediscovering a lot of things that happened in the early days that I completely forgot about. And I was reading Annette's chapter, and she was saying, she wanted to be in a band, just to be in a band. She didn't care if he was, a great musician or not, which I thought was really interesting that her saying that in her chapter. And because I remember in the early days, I was kind of wanted to be a bass player, and then I was a drummer, so I kind of secretly was coming up with a couple of bass parts and teaching them to Annette in the very, very early days. But she got much better the more she played. She got more into it. So I don't know. This is a really hard question to answer because I don't want to put favorites on, but I can tell you Michael Steele and Derek, I definitely had more of an instant connection with them. But I do love playing with Annette too. So,
Yeah, and lately Annette's been coming back around, and she was doing some shows with you guys when we were able to go to concerts, right?
Oh, you mean back in the day when you can go to shows? Yeah, right.
Yeah.
God, help. Yeah. Well, that was the thing where we just decided, especially after the whole Paisley get together again and doing the 3x4, or actually it was the 4 3x4. We just thought, well, why don't we go back to the original group, Let's go back to our roots again. So we got Annette back and play with us, and it's many years, and we've all kind of grown up, and we all get together, get along really well now, and she's improved a lot as a musician. She works really hard. I mean, sometimes at rehearsal I sit there and think, oh God, I hope this is going to be all right, and then she'll go on stage and freaking nail it. So
Perfect.
There you go.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah, and it's fun for us as longtime fans. The first time that I met you, Debbie, is when you guys did an in-store appearance at Lou's Records in Encinitas, California, for All Over the Place.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that was a minute ago.
Yeah, that was just last week, right?
So for us fans, it's really exciting to see that the Annette come back around and do a couple shows, but
yeah, it's really been fun with her. Really enjoyed it.
The band has released so much good music, and I'm a vinyl fan. I'm in my 50s, and one of the records that I'm missing in my collection on vinyl is Doll Revolution, which I think is an amazing CD.
You're running from the pressures of the restless world. Hush for a moment, baby, just be still. Here now, spend a minute next to me. Slow down, take the time to let it be. I want to show you there's no place better than here right now.
Do you know about any plans for a vinyl release for that?
It's funny you should say that. Yes, I mean, there's talks in the works of re-releasing Doll Revolution and Sweetheart of the Sun. Yeah, and doing it on vinyl. There is talk of this. So keep your eyes out because it's in the process.
Very exciting. I'm very excited.
Yeah, so it's so funny you should mention that because you're going to get your wish.
Yay.
We'd also like to know if, now that we're talking about all things musical, and are there any projects that you would like to promote, or anything that you're currently involved with that you'd like to share with our listeners?
Well, musically, I've been kind of in a bit of a standstill right now because of the whole lockdown and stuff.
Sure.
Yeah, so I've been trying. I just recently moved up to the Pacific Northwest, and just been trying to sort of get together with some people near Portland, and I just started doing that when this whole thing kicked in, and I obviously kind of at a standstill. But
right.
I do want to in the future, start getting another thing together. And I've also been interested in doing art, so I'm going to pursue that, being in the lockdown, start doing some different kinds of art.
Beautiful.
Oh, I can't wait to see that.
Yeah.
And we did see a really, really fun version of Live, the merry-go-round song that you did, and we shared on our page.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, that was, literally in my media room, in my little office here. I was like, okay, I'm going to do something just to kind of cheer people up, because, we're all going through this, and we're all, like, locked in our houses going stir-crazy, like, what do I do? So I just thought, why not? Live, such a great, uplifting song, and I thought that would be an appropriate selection,
Yes. And it's a great
Well, thank
tune.
you for sharing that, though. Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
So I had one last question. Sorry, I don't know about you, but so my last question, Debbie, looking back on the catalog that you had with the Bangles, do you have a favorite song that you recorded and a favorite song that you like to play live?
Oh, wow. Let me think. Well, I do like the song Let It Go. I always like that song. It was so much of a Bangle collaboration. It was all of us writing together. We all sing on it. I really enjoyed that one. And I guess I like playing Hazy Shade because it rocks, dude.
It rocks. It definitely rocks. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. I do have one last question. And
okay, no worries.
You mentioned playing live in your music room and sharing that with people, and it is really uplifting. And we want to know what music is uplifting you right now. What are you listening to?
I like the new Pornographers. I really like them.
Yes. I'm a huge fan.
Yeah, and you do too?
Yes.
Yeah, they're great. I've been kind of going, my husband and I have been kind of rediscovering like Bowie and old 70s, like T-Rex. We've been watching all these YouTube videos and just kind of going back to the early 70s stuff. And I'm trying to think what else lately. Then there's a station here I listen to in my car sometimes. Again, it's another like old station, like 50s and 60s, and it's just I hear some of this old stuff and I go, oh God, I remember that song. And it's just uplifting. It's just good to hear stuff that got you into music in the first place, you rediscover it again.
Yeah, music is so powerful, and for us, especially during this time when most of us are in our homes and there's a lot of alone time, it's great to have music, including the Bangles, that we can listen to and cheer us up.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's great to have music. It's really gets you through the day,
Yeah, agreed.
Debbie, you will never understand how wonderful this was to have this time with you, and we don't want to infringe upon the rest of your day, but thank you so much for joining us today, for sharing with our listeners, and for the great music. You're just amazing, and we are huge fans.
Great. Thank you so much for having me on your show. That's awesome.
Thank you, Debbie. We really, really appreciate it.
Thank you. You're very welcome. Take care of yourself and be safe.
Okay, you too.
Guys.
Keep rocking.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
You
Bye.
too. So that just happened.
I want to do like a happy dance. I seriously want to do a happy dance. I'm like, woo!
You were doing a happy dance. I can see you on video, so.
Ah,
How great is she?
okay, Jeff, let's this happened. You and I had this moment.
Absolutely.
And I hate to I hate to like lift the veil, but Jeff and I had like a laundry list of questions, and we had to really narrow it down.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I think if you've listened to any of our episodes, we can definitely talk long, but I'm really grateful to Debbi Peterson for giving us this piece of her day. She's amazing, and her energy. How can you not just love her and get all energized by her?
Yeah, she seems so positive and she seems like one of the people that really appreciates what she does. And as a fan of the Bangles, it's so exciting to hear when somebody it likes what they do and can look back on it and appreciate and be excited about what they've done and are still doing.
And then can we talk about, we almost had Debbi Peterson as a bass player?
Yeah, yeah.
How do you like them apples?
Well, we know that she plays other instruments because, well,
Oh, no.
we've seen videos with her on guitar, so...
Right.
Yeah.
No, she's a really strong musician. But, you know, when she said I secretly wanted to be a bass player? Whoa!
Yeah.
You know, and I like what she said about wanting to be recognized for her skill and for the fact that she just loves playing music and wanted to be recognized as just a drummer, not just a girl drummer. And I can imagine, and when she said it was hard, I can imagine that. And then when you see her on stage, when you see what she commands, how she commands that room and that space, and then you hear her voice, and I mean, she's really a standout musician, and I can't wait to hear more from her. I'm, you know, when she said, yeah, you know, I'm right when this hit, I was starting to kind of connect with musicians in the area. I am ready.
Yes, yeah, me too. Me too. And I will say, as a drummer that sings, that's something that's always intrigued me to see a drummer sing behind the kit, because you don't see that a whole lot. I mean, she's not the first, but it's fairly uncommon. I mean, you'll see bass players sing. I mean, we got Michael Querso. You'll see guitar players sing. You know, there's Steve Wynn, and even keyboard players sing or piano players sing. You know, Stevie Wonder, right. But not a whole lot of drummers. So and she beats the heck out of those drums. You said she was a badass drummer.
Badass. She's a badass on that kit. I don't care what you say.
Yeah. Woo. I remember going to those Whiskey A Go-Go shows where they did those 3 nights. That was another series of questions that I had that I ended up scratching off because I didn't want to go to 3 hours or 4 hours. Yeah, just seeing them in that little club and her just behind that kit and just sounding beautiful when she sang and just killing it on those songs. So
incredible. And you know, a lot has been written about, talked about, reported about the Bangles. You know, when she said we wanted to be on a major label, we wanted to have hits. You know, a lot has been said about that time.
Yes.
And so it was really, I thought it was very touching how she reflected back on these early days, and it just sounded like everything just kind of started gelling really quickly and easily. And once again, the elusive green on red barbecues. And no one, people remember the Catalina trip, but the green on red barbecues, we're going to have to dig a little deeper for that one. I think we're going to actually have to talk to Sid Griffin for that, because I think Sid remembers a lot more.
Mm-hmm. And
Dan Stewart, we need to reach out to Dan Stewart and see if we can get to the bottom of these green on red barbecues.
Yes, yes.
Debbi Peterson, what a great person.
Yes, and that was a gift.
Oh my gosh. We hope all of you enjoy it. The 80 episodes don't come around all the time.
Nope.
But man, I think we gave you a really sweet surprise for our 80th.
Agreed. Yeah.
Debbi Peterson's awesome.
She is very awesome.
All right, Jeff. That's 2 original Bangles. Only 2 to go.
Yes.
The more elusive unicorns, Vicky Peterson and Sue Hobbs.
Yeah. For now, I'll take Debbi. That was a very fun conversation. Loved her energy.
Wonderful. Oh, I don't want to stop.
We
Can
have
we call
to.
her back?
No.
Oh, friends. How good are we at?
Groove on, Paisley people.